Hi guys, I hope that, oh, I'm visible. Let's see. Just waiting for us to join. Okay. Right. I think we're live. We should be good. I'm hoping we're live. I would believe that we are. Thank you so much for joining me this morning for this very impromptu live session. And it's very impromptu because, sure, I was thinking and reading, and I came across a video on social media that really challenged me to do this live session. So we are going to do it. Let's just wait 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. Let's see. Alrighty. Okay. All right. Yeah, so my name is Miss B. I am a gratitude coach. I am a speaker. I am a daughter and a professional in the profession that I do. And I also run an organization called Conversations with Miss B, where we uplift and change the dialogue, change the narrative rather through dialogue. So we really are focused on ensuring that conversations happen, that we have impact through conversation, that we have impact through opening up dialogue. I believe there's power in a story. And so at times you find that some people feel alone, but when you share your story, when you share your experience, life, things begin to change. And so we're here today really as Conversations with Miss B, starting, this is the first video of the year for me, my very first video of the year. So I'm really excited and looking forward to many more of such. And today we're going to be discussing time, right? Time as a measurement, time as something that we place a lot of importance on. And yes, time is important. I mean, it's time after all. But the most important thing is to ensure that you're using the, the element of time in a positive way, not in a way that will distract and end up influencing your life. So I need 1 minute. I literally need to get some water. I can feel my throat being stretchy. So 2 seconds. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Thank you so much. All right, water here. Right. So let's talk about time as a measure. Right. I just want to change the banner. There you go. Time as a measure. Um, we know that we live in a society, in a world where time is a priority. What I mean by that is that We work on chronological time, right? We have watches for a reason. There's day, there's night. We know 24 hours, how it's measured. And a lot of time, we also measure time by the number of years that we have, from since you're a baby to when you are a teenager, then entering into your early 20s as a young adult, going into your 30s, midlife 40s, now going towards retirement in your 50s, 60s, and then entering into the old age sphere. And a lot of times we believe that age is a determiner of certain things that must come. Yes, indeed. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't be 30 years and doing grade one, right? You can't be 25 years and still in primary school. You have to progress with the stages of life. However, there's a difference between progressing with the stages of life and progressing with the expectations of the stages of life. We do have a scenario in society where you find that certain cultures, certain habits are fostered in the society. For example, in certain cultures and in certain societies, it's very common for young girls, maybe the age younger than 16, to be married off to older men. It's a culture that was instilled. Should we say that's the world culture? That's the standard that we should live up to? Absolutely not, right? Similar to South Africa, you need to look into what is the cultures that we have set as a South African collective. And one of the cultures we have in South Africa and in some parts of the world is that we put time limits to material things. At this age, you should have a house. At this age, you should have a car. At this age, you should have a child, even though that is not your life path. We also put time limits to relationship success. At this age, you should be having a stable relationship. You should be married. At this age, you should be having this, a partner, a wife, a husband with 3 kids, with 2 kids, with 1 kid, whatever it is. Even our families end up perpetuating that culture. If you go, let's say you're working in a different province and you go home, when you get home and you're a single person, the first thing they ask, so Makoti, have you brought us a bride? Where is your husband? Is there someone that's marrying you this year? When are we having grandkids? Parents will even ask, don't go to the level of asking and putting pressure on you to say, we want grandchildren. And all of those pressures, including pressure from society itself, you log on to social media and the agenda is, you see marriages everywhere. People are getting married. We just come from the December festive season. A lot of marriages, the weddings happen in December. So you have then, a whole lot of pressure that comes from society, that comes from certain things that happen in a certain way for a large number of people, but that does not mean that that is the status quo. That does not mean that essentially that is the only way or the set way that things and circumstances and life should go for everybody. Why do I say that? We are all individuals, meaning that you were created for a reason and a purpose. You were created alone. Even if you are a twin, you are separate. Both of you are individuals, though you are in the same womb, but you came as an individual. So we were all created individually, alone, separately. There's something at the back that I need to get off. I didn't realize. Okay. So you came into this world as a separate being, right? You came into this world as an individual. And your life should echo that. Your life should show that you are an individual. I came to the world as Ubomi, Boniwe in form. And my life is reflective and lived as Boniwe. If I'm to compare myself to my friend Balisa or to my friend Lorraine or to my friend Dieketeng, then it means that I'm not living in authenticity. I'm not living in a way that would be pleasing to the purpose and the goal that I was created for. See, when you come on earth, You have an assignment, number one. Each and every one of us, when you are born into this world, when you are created and you are born into the world, you come with a purpose. You come with an assignment, right? You come with a reason, a why. And a lot of times, whether you live out that reason or not is a story for another day. But you come uniquely with your purpose. You come uniquely with a set life plan that is set for you by the creator of the heavens on the earth. He does no mistakes. It's not just haphazard. When we look into the Bible in the book of Genesis, we see how intentional he was in creating Adam. And after creating Adam, how intentional he was and different and specific he was when he created Eve. God could have created Eve exactly the same way he created Adam, from the soil of the ground, right? But he was very mindful in that I want to create Eve in a unique way, in a different way that I did Adam. So he created Eve from Adam, from Adam's rib, and then Eve came up. So it shows how intentional God is in making us all unique, in creating unique paths in our lives, in creating unique plan for each and every person. And though sometimes our giftings, our abilities may seem similar, believe you me, they are all different. We are all created and called for different things. The trajectory of your life may seem in line with mine, but it's different. And that is where sometimes when you've been friends since an early age, since primary school, you go to high school, you graduate, you will essentially almost grow apart because you're taking different paths. Everyone's going to study what they study. But even if you try to say, we are twins, we're going to study the same thing, somewhere life itself will show you that you are distinguished. You'll get jobs at a different place. One might get married earlier than the other. One might have kids, one might not have kids. Life will present itself differently to each and every one because by design, we're meant to be different. We're meant to go through and experience different life paths. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think society at times tries to knuckle down, tries to make us all the same, tries to say we all must finish school at the same time, we all must study within this time, we all must, because there are measures, a degree is 3 years, so if you don't finish it in 3 years, something's wrong with you, you failed, you're this, you're that. Generally, childbearing age is your 20s and early 30s. If you don't have a child by then, something is wrong with you, you failed. And these are measures that are put by society. These are not measures that are put by God, the Creator. And to show that God doesn't work on the measurement of our time or society's time, you look in the Bible in Genesis, where it speaks about the story of Abraham and Sarah. And they were quite advanced in age, like a couple of 100 years old. I know right now, it's hard for a person to even live up to the age of 90 nowadays. But back then, people could really live up over the age of 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 even. I don't know even how they looked at that time, but I would think, So Abraham was quite old and advanced in years, and Sarah was also very, very, very old, like old. Like I think she was over the age of 90 or 100, somewhere there. And in her old age, Sarah bore a child. Sarah fell pregnant by her old husband, Abraham. And she bore a baby, literally, a bouncing, healthy, genetically 100% baby boy. And this was to be the heir of Abraham's lineage. And today we still say the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The promise that was fulfilled or was promised to Abraham was fulfilled. In his old age, Abraham got a child, a Sarah. She got pregnant. She birthed the baby, and according to society's time, that didn't make sense. She was old. She's over childbearing years. And the discussion is not about have babies late or whatnot. No, the discussion is to say everything is happening exactly the way it should. The more you put pressure on time to say, I must, by this age, accomplish this, I must have a house at this age. I must be married and have a wife or husband at this age. You put pressure on yourself, and the repercussions and the ripple effect of that pressure is generally not good. It's generally not positive. It actually can be very damaging and can be very negative and can bring a very negative effect over your life. Time and the pressures that society puts on time can be very detrimental also, because you find that, number one, it will impact your self-esteem. You'll feel less of a person. You'll feel that you haven't accomplished that which you should, according to society, according to people. You will feel that you are not enough, you are not sufficient, because when all your friends or the people that you know or your colleagues are married, for example, because it's a big one. Marriage it's a big one. It's a big one. A lot of people feel the pressure to get married at a certain age. A lot of people feel that if they're not married by a certain, especially women, ladies, come on, let's talk about this. Especially us, we get into our 30s and we're like, okay, there's still hope, and then we get over 35. We're going towards our 40s, and then we really we panic. We go into panic mode. I don't want to lie. Almost a lot of ladies that I know go into panic mode, to say, I'm getting old, my ovaries are getting old, my eggs are they're rotting away. Especially if a lady does not have a prospect of a stable partner, they even feel more of a failure within the area of relationships. And then that is where trouble sets in. That is where now we compromise. And a lot of times society will also perpetuate that, to say, you are old, you are in the 30s, 40s, you don't have a marriage, in tanga zako that are younger than you, they're building families, they're having children, they're buying properties. When now lazy we won, you don't have anybody. And they will even tell you that it's because of your high expectations. Yeah, you thought you were clever in your 20s when you were young. You had high expectations. You didn't take the men that came to you seriously. Some of us turned down proposals that we were given in our 20s, and society will make you feel less of a person because of that, not knowing that if something was meant to happen at a specific time, trust you me, no one can stop it. They will try sometimes, but if it's within God's plan, if you are a woman and a man of God who is certain and set in your destiny, in your prayer, if you're trusting God, if you're believing for the best, nothing can derail. They might delay it. Satan and witches and people who have negative arts may try to sabotage it, but you believe me, when your time is your time, it will happen. Earlier this week, I did a word of the week, and I spoke about positioning, and I spoke about the story of Joseph. I love this story. And this was a young man, jealous. His brothers were jealous of him, and they plotted to destroy his destiny. At first, they wanted to kill him. It didn't work. Then they sold him off into slavery. They thought that is what the end of him. They tried to derail him. He is own flesh and blood. We have people in our families that are strategizing against us. People in our family that are using dark magic, witchcraft, sorcery to halt our destiny. But even when the brothers tried to do that, tried to use strategies to halt the destiny of Joseph, the man he was sold off to, which was Potiphar, he became excellent in what he did. When yours, Mtanasekhaya, is to be excellent in who you are. Find your purpose. Find your destiny. Find what it is that you are called for. What did God call you? And everything that you're going to find must be linked to service, because God does not call us to just sit and just be beneficiaries and just live a nice life and just show off and pretend as if we are, Tina, we're living in space. No, we are all brought into the earth to serve. Our purpose is linked with service, any kind of service, whether it's service in business, whether it's service in the religious, spiritual entity, whether it's service in the ministries of healing, of prophecy, of preaching, of motivation, whatever it is, it's all about service. All of it is linked to service. The very precipice of Jesus coming to earth was to serve humanity. He healed the sick. He preached the word. He turned water into wine. He did some, all of it was service, to serve others. And so your purpose is distinctly linked to a service that you need to provide for society. Because when God brings you into the world, you become a light that must illuminate whatever area, whatever department, whatever branch of life, whatever you've been called for, group of people you've been called for. Yours is to illuminate them in whatever way you'll be functioning in. And so when you figure out your purpose, you know that you are aligned. So Joseph, he was sold off. They thought that his destiny would pay high, but I'm telling you that Joseph found himself in the house of the chief captain of the king, King Pharaoh. And Joseph worked diligently. He never moved away from his purpose. He began to serve with excellence. And in serving with excellence, he was trapped. Again, someone tried to steal his destiny. The wife of Potiphar tried to come and accuse him of rape, and he was in prison, falsely accused, and all of these things. People will come against you with a spear and a dagger. People will come against you spiritually. People that are more spiritually apt, that can manipulate things in the spirit. They will try to delay your destiny. They will try to ensure that you don't reach the height where God has put you for. But I'm telling you now that God will never allow destiny stealers to come into your life and to steal and to rail your destiny. They will try. And you are the one that will allow them to, by saying, I'm nothing. Joseph could have given up. Joseph could have lost weight and been sick and had a grudge against his brothers and felt pity for himself and, considered himself as less of a person. And, he would have been a nobody, been in prison, been depressed, and then ended up not fulfilling his destiny. But even in prison, to show that Joseph knew his destiny, even in prison, he was using his gifts and talents, one of them being of leadership, another one being of interpreting of dreams. And when the king had a difficult dream to interpret, they called Joseph. They said, hey, that's a man who's functioning in his purpose. Even in prison, even when he was wrongly accused, he could have been bitter and angry. He could have turned out and killed people in prison, but he stood in his purpose. And he lived and functioned in his gifts and his callings that all of us have individually and differently as God has given us. And because of that, he was able to interpret the gift and the dream of the king, Pharaoh. And he was put in charge as prime minister. And guess what? The Bible says in the book of Psalms, he prepared the table for you in the presence of your enemies. And so these enemies, which technically were his brother, the destiny stealers, the people who suck us, the people who want to make us feel less than of ourselves, they come looking for food because there was a famine now in their country, in their hometown. There was a famine and they came looking for food. And guess where they come? To the country or to the place or the city where Joseph was now put as prime minister of this place. And now they're at the mercy of Joseph to give them food. Because Joseph was so positioned, he even knew that famine was coming. So they had put a lot of stored food, they stored and gathered food, preparing for the famine. And when the brothers came looking for food, they didn't even realize that it was Joseph that was the prime minister. People will not recognize you when God puts you in place of your destiny. People will not recognize you when God elevates you to the level where your destiny, your path is supposed to be. Everything is happening the way it should be. When I stay grounded, stay rooted in yourself, stay rooted in prayer, stay rooted in your purpose, find windows, ways, whatever it is, to make a difference by serving others. And whatever is supposed to come to you will come. If your husband is supposed to come to you in your 50s, he will come to you in your 50s. If you will find your wife in her old age as a widow with old kids, you will find your wife then. And there is nothing wrong with that. It makes you no less of a human being. There are people who entered marriages at a young age, have been divorced, are dealing with traumas, mental illnesses, depression. And then there's you, who God will give their partner at a later age, and you won't go through the depression and the sickness. Kanti ufunani? You want to live a life of purpose, or you want to live a life that is is busy satisfying other people at your expense. You see, when you are not aligned with your purpose, you end up racing against time. So we choose bad partners for ourselves, partners that are not in alignment with the purpose, that are not on our life path, partners that we had no business partnering with. We choose them, we compromise. We ignore the red flags and whatever because you're chasing this thing. I must be married. I must have a child. We end up having children with men that don't respect, love us, with men that bring us a lot of trauma. We end up being in relations, in abusive marriages with abusive, horrible partners who don't treat us the way that we deserve to be treated because you are racing against time. Whose time? I don't know. But we were racing against it. We ended up buying properties when it was premature, and now we went through repossession and we're fixing our credit scores because it was premature. We were chasing. My friend bought a property, now I'm gonna buy it. You know you're not yet there financially. You know you're still building. You know you still are going to get promoted and you get to the place. But you are in your 20s, you must buy a property. Some of us ended up buying us cars that got repossessed. We went through years of bad financial decisions because we were chasing things, getting into debt because we wanted to live a life. I must look like that girl at work. Oh, she dresses in Label and Louis Vuitton. You go, you take loans to finance a lifestyle because you're trying to keep up with the perception of at this time you should have this, at this age you should have this. Don't put yourself under pressure. You see those posts of if you don't have this and this by that age, please. There are 3 buttons on Facebook that say you do not want to ever see this kind of post again. There are 3 buttons there. On those buttons, there's also a button for block this person that keeps posting such things. Yeah, woman, single mothers this, single men this. Yeah, you know you were never good enough. There's a button on social media that's called block. Use it. Protect your mental health. There's no competition. There's no competition. There's no trophy you're going to get at the end of your life that says, yay, here's a trophy. When now you did this at age this, you accomplished this at age this, you did everything according to the list of life that was put there in the sky. There's the list in the sky. We can see it. When now you tick them all, here's your trophy. Yay. There's no, that doesn't exist, guys. It's not there. It's not there. There's no trophy. There's no list in the sky or anywhere else for that matter. These expectations, these time limits we've put on life events and things we must go through are all man-made. And you were not made by man, you were made by God. So why are you trying to satisfy the looks of life, outlooks of life? I also look at a lot of things that are happening in our social media, and we look at social media couples and marriages, and something will trend, guys. Like it will trend for a week max, maybe 2 weeks if it's gone beyond, and then we forget about it. We literally forget about it. Like we forget about, like life goes on. And so you are going to allow the expectations that honesty society puts on you for a week or whatever, or the trip you have at home for a few days. You're going to allow that to make you and to put you into wrong relationships, wrong jobs, wrong circumstances, wrong financial decisions, wrong emotional decisions, wrong spiritual decisions, because you're trying to keep up with a concept that people actually don't even care about. Even if you were to win or fail, even like we had a lot of marriages in December, we were scrolling, congratulations, ooh, beautiful, pretty. We have forgotten about those weddings. Life goes on. We are now here. We are worried about work. Kids are going to school. Kuningi. We are busy with our lives. The wedding and the dress was nice. When you got married for people, we are over it. We are done. Uphelile, your wedding has passed. Now the seriousness of life starts. Now your path with your partner starts. Now the realities of life starts. And now you were doing it for people. Now you are stuck in a miserable relationship and marriage. And now you have to pretend for the rest of your life. And you convince yourself that you will be able to pretend. But somewhere reality is going to tell you that no, this was wrong. But even when you have succumbed to pressures of life, I have. I've been in debt. I've had things be repossessed. I've been in wrong relationships that compromised my mental health. I've been in wrong friendships. I've bought things that I shouldn't be buying. But always forgive yourself. We are only human, and it's hard to live in a society that expects certain things and be different. It's hard that when everybody's going right, you say, I'm going left. That's why today we still have issues with people who say, I don't want to have children. We still find issues with people who say, I don't want to get married. We still find issue with someone who is living in a small room but having an expensive car. We have issues with that. We still have issues with someone living in a big house, driving a scrappy car or using taxis. We have issues with that. We still have issues with someone who's deciding to stay with their parents. And we have issues with everything, because if it's not this way, it's not right. If it's not this way, it's not right. You must first get this and then this, and then do this. According to who? Why are you prescribing the life of someone else? Say, for me, this is what I want. This is how I believe my life should be. Don't prescribe it to other people. But unfortunately, life will do that. The world will do that. But you within yourself, you need to be grounded enough to know that that is not the measure of life. Time, according to society, is not a measure of life. What is the measure of life? Living in purpose, living in service to others. That is the measure of life. That's what people will remember you for, not for your cars. As soon as you die, they'll remember you have a car, you had this, but your house will crumble. Your cars will be abused. They won't be taking care of them the way you used to take care of them. They'll crash after a few years. They'll be sold away. They'll start having breakdowns. It will be that scrappy car sitting in a yard with no wheels, sitting on a ton of bricks. Your house will start to decapitate. There'll be cracks. The paint will start to wear off. Your clothes will be given away. Some of them will be burnt because they are no longer of use. But you spend your whole life working hard to put up a picture of satisfaction, and you will die not having fulfilled the destiny that God has planned for you. And so I'm here today on this live to say, let's not use time as a measurement of your life and of your success. Use yourself as a measurement. Use God's timing as a measurement. Trust that everything is happening exactly the way it should, is going exactly at the pace and at the level that it should. That nothing is happening by mistake or not by mistake. That nothing is neither too early nor too late. That everything is exactly on time, exactly where it should be. Forgive others and yourself. Invest into yourself. Pour into yourself. Have a level of self-love that is undescribable. Grow your cup of self-love. So much so that you always choose yourself. And even when God brings you the right partner, God puts you into the right job, you will think, is this good for me? Is this healthy for me? Is this beneficial for me? And you will make a decision from a healthy place, from a full place, not from I'm empty. I'm getting to this relationship because I need money and this person has money, and so I'm just gonna get into it. And then tomorrow, you, a statistic, you were killed because you are in it for the money and that person feels like you are sucking from them. You see, like, be genuine. And I believe that when you live in an authentic way, a genuine way, everything that is meant to happen will align in different ways, in various ways, in ways that are outside of society and patriarchy and what the world thinks it should be, but it will be exactly the way that it was destined for you. Use your free will to align yourself into your destiny, into the purpose that God has planned for you. And know that everything that is happening is not happening to you, it's happening for you, for your good. Learn the lessons. Learn the lessons. Learn the why this happened. Understand that. Have peace. Forgive yourself. Forgive others. And just literally live in gratitude. Be thankful for all that you have, or how far you've come, for what God has given you, for how far God has carried you, and begin to function in your mandate. And God will begin to open doors that you never thought possible. God will begin to make way where it seemed as if there was no way. God will begin to bring and align things in your path that were meant to be there in first place, because nothing is by surprise, by the way. Nothing is by oopsie. Everything is aligned, especially all the good things. They're aligned, and all the bad things and the horrible and the hard things, those are tests and challenges that you go through, that you must pass. But you must know that you are equipped for them. You are equipped for such things, and God will not give you a mountain that is too high for you to climb. Use your spiritual tools, use your angels, use your guides, use gratitude, use prayer, read the Bible, use service, use giving. And I believe, use meditation, and believe you me, you will be at peace with yourself, you'll be at peace with the life and the path where you are at, and as a result, you will live an authentic life, and hopefully one day you will die empty. And that is the word of encouragement for this week. I really hope that it has hit a chord or two with someone. I really hope that from today you will free yourself from the shackles of society. You will feel more of a person, whether you are married or not, whether you've got a car or not, whether you've got properties or not, whether you've got a positive bank balance or not, whether you've got friends or not, whether you've got children or not, whether you've got a wardrobe full of clothes or not, whether you're living in your dream home or living in a mkuku or living under the bridge. I hope that today's word will encourage you to say, be authentic, be genuine, and believe that all things are happening for the good. Continue doing good, and it will come back to you multiplied, shaken together, and running over. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Miss B, and I'll see you again next time. Have a blessed one.